You're weak. I'm weak. We're all weak in ways we don't even realize. And the worst part? We've been trained to call our weakness virtue. We've been taught to celebrate our limitations, to make excuses for our failures, to be comfortable with mediocrity. And Friedrich Nietzsche saw right through all of it over 100 years ago. Today I'm going to show you exactly how Nietzsche's philosophy can transform you from someone who makes excuses into someone who makes things happen. But I need to warn you right now, this isn't going to be comfortable. Nietzsche doesn't coddle you. He doesn't tell you that you're perfect just the way you are. He tells you the truth, and the truth is going to sting. So, let's start with the most uncomfortable question Nietzsche ever asked. What if your suffering isn't noble? What if your struggle isn't because the world is unfair? What if you're suffering because you're weak and you've chosen to stay weak? Most people hear that and immediately get defensive. They start listing all the reasons why their situation is different, why they're the exception, why their weakness is justified. And that, right there, that defensiveness, that's exactly what Nietzsche is talking about. That's weakness protecting itself. Here's what Nietzsche understood. Weakness doesn't announce itself as weakness. It disguises itself as something noble. It calls itself humility when it's really fear. It calls itself being realistic when it's really giving up. It calls itself being compassionate when it's really avoiding confrontation. Weakness is a master of disguise, and it's been fooling you your entire life. Let me give you an example. You want to start a business, but you tell yourself, I need to be responsible. I have bills to pay. I can't take risks. Sounds reasonable, right? But let's apply Nietzsche's lens. What you're really saying is, I'm afraid of failure, and I'd rather stay in a situation I hate than face the possibility of trying and failing. That's not responsibility. That's weakness wearing a responsibility costume. Or here's another one. You want to get in shape, but you tell yourself, I'm too busy. I have too many obligations. I'll start when things calm down. But things never calm down, do they? What you're really saying is, I'm not willing to prioritize my health because that would require discipline and discomfort, and I'd rather avoid those things. That's not being busy. That's weakness hiding behind obligations. Nietzsche would say that the first step to becoming strong is radical honesty about your weakness. Stop lying to yourself. Stop dressing up your fear and laziness and avoidance in noble language. Call it what it is. You're weak, and you're choosing to stay weak because being weak is easier than becoming strong. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Nietzsche talked about something he called the will to power, and this is the key to everything. The will to power isn't about dominating other people. It's about overcoming yourself. It's about constantly pushing past your current limitations, about refusing to accept your present state as your final state. Strong people have a powerful will to power. They're constantly asking, how can I become better? How can I grow? What can I overcome next? Weak people have turned their will to power inward in a toxic way. Instead of trying to overcome their limitations, they try to make their limitations seem virtuous. They try to make the world accommodate their weakness instead of making themselves stronger. Think about modern culture. How much of it is about accommodating weakness instead of encouraging strength? Everyone needs to be comfortable. Everyone needs safe spaces. Everyone needs trigger warnings. Everyone needs participation trophies. We've built an entire society around protecting people from the discomfort that actually creates growth. And Nietzsche would say, this is absolutely poisonous because strength doesn't come from comfort. Strength comes from struggle. It comes from facing things that scare you, from doing things you don't want to do, from pushing yourself past your limits. There is no other way. Anyone who tells you there's an easy path to strength is selling you something. So how do you actually become strong using Nietzsche's philosophy? First, you embrace what he called amor fati, love of fate. This means you stop complaining about your circumstances and you start accepting them as the exact conditions you need to become strong. You didn't get the promotion? Good. That's your opportunity to prove you're capable of more. Your relationship ended? Good. That's your opportunity to become the kind of person who attracts better relationships. You failed at something? Good. That's information about what you need to improve. Weak people look at obstacles and see reasons to quit. Strong people look at the same obstacles and see training equipment. The obstacle isn't the problem. Your interpretation of the obstacle is the problem. And that interpretation is something you control. Let me tell you about a Nietzsche concept that changed everything for me. He said, "That which does not kill me makes me stronger." But here's what most people miss. He wasn't just talking about surviving difficult things. He was talking about actively seeking them out. He was saying you should pursue difficult, embrace challenge, run toward the things that scare you. Why? Because every time you face something difficult and overcome it, you expand your capacity. You become someone who can handle more. And the person who can handle more is more powerful, more capable, more free than the person who can only handle comfortable situations. Think about your life right now. How much of it is organized around avoiding discomfort? You stay in the job you hate because finding a new one would be stressful. You don't have difficult conversations because confrontation is uncomfortable. You don't pursue your goals because the risk of failure is scary. You've built a prison of comfort, and you've convinced yourself it's safety. But here's what Nietzsche understood. Safety is an illusion. The world is dangerous. Life is uncertain. You can spend all your energy trying to avoid pain, and you'll still experience pain. The difference is, if you face pain voluntarily, on your terms, in pursuit of something meaningful, you grow from it. If you experience pain while trying to avoid it, you just suffer pointlessly. So you have a choice. You can pursue a life of comfort and still experience inevitable suffering, making you weak. Or you can pursue a life of voluntary challenge and growth, making you strong. Either way, you're going to suffer. You might as well suffer in a way that makes you better. Now, let's talk about something Nietzsche called slave morality. This is absolutely crucial for understanding why you're weak. Slave morality is when you define virtue based on what makes you feel safe, what allows you to avoid confrontation, what lets you stay comfortable. Things like excessive humility, self-sacrifice, obedience, meekness, these become your highest values. And here's the trick. Slave morality makes you feel good about being weak. It turns weakness into a virtue. You're not too afraid to start a business. You're humble and realistic. You're not avoiding difficult conversations. You're keeping the peace. You're not failing to pursue your goals. You're being selfless and putting others first. See how that works? Slave morality is a psychological defense mechanism that protects you from feeling bad about your weakness. It lets you stay weak while feeling morally superior. And once you're trapped in slave morality, you actually start resenting strong people. You start seeing their strength as a vice. They're arrogant or selfish or aggressive. Nietzsche would tell you to reject this completely. Develop what he called master morality instead. Define virtue based on what enhances life, what creates growth, what expands your power and capability. Strength, courage, independence, ambition, excellence. These should be your values. This doesn't mean being cruel or dominating others. It means refusing to accept weakness as virtue. It means admitting that strength is better than weakness, that courage is better than cowardice, that excellence is better than mediocrity. These things should be obvious, but slave morality has made them controversial. Here's a practical exercise. Look at your life right now and identify every area where you've rationalized weakness as virtue. Where are you calling cowardice prudence? Where are you calling laziness self-care? Where are you calling mediocrity being realistic? Write these down. Look at them. Feel the discomfort of recognizing your own lies. That discomfort, that's good. That's the first step to change. Weak people avoid that discomfort. Strong people lean into it. They use it as fuel. They say, "I've been lying to myself, and now I'm going to do something about it." Let me tell you about another Nietzschean concept that's incredibly powerful for becoming strong: the eternal recurrence. Imagine you had to live your life exactly as it is right now, over and over again, for eternity. Every choice, every action, every moment, repeated infinitely. Could you embrace that? Would you want to? If the answer is no, you're living wrong. You're wasting time on things that don't matter. You're avoiding the challenges that would make life meaningful. You're living a life you wouldn't choose if you had to live it forever. The eternal recurrence test is brutal because it eliminates all the lies you tell yourself. You can't say, "I'll start tomorrow," because tomorrow never comes in eternal recurrence. You can't say, "This is just temporary," because nothing is temporary if it repeats forever. You can't rationalize wasting time or avoiding challenges. You're forced to confront whether you're actually living in a way you respect. Use this test on yourself. Am I living a life I'd choose to repeat eternally? Am I doing things I'm proud of? Am I becoming the person I want to be? Or am I going through the motions, avoiding discomfort, making excuses, staying weak? If you're honest with yourself, and the answer is that you wouldn't want to repeat your current life eternally, that's information. That's not a reason to feel bad. It's a reason to change. Right now. Today. Not tomorrow, not when things get easier. Now. Here's something else Nietzsche understood that most people completely miss. He said that you need to become who you are, not who your parents want you to be, not who society expects you to be, not who your friends think you should be, who you actually are. But here's the problem. Most people don't know who they are because they've never done the hard work of figuring it out. They've just accepted the default programming. They've adopted the values and beliefs and goals of their environment without questioning them. They're living someone else's life and calling it their own. This is a profound form of weakness, because if you're living according to someone else's values, you'll never feel truly motivated. You'll always be fighting yourself. Part of you will know that this isn't actually what you want, that you're performing for an audience, that you're betraying yourself. So how do you become who you are? You start by questioning everything you think you believe. Why do I believe this? Is this actually true for me, or did I just absorb it from my environment? What do I actually want, separate from what I'm supposed to want? This is terrifying work because you might discover that everything you've been working toward is wrong for you. You might realize you're in the wrong career, the wrong relationship, the wrong city, living the wrong life. But that terror is good. That terror means you're getting close to the truth. And once you know who you actually are, once you know what you actually value, you become unstoppable. Because now you're not fighting yourself anymore. You're aligned, you're integrated. All your energy is pointing in the same direction. That's real strength. Now let's talk about something uncomfortable. Nietzsche said that you should be careful who you associate with. He said that pity is dangerous, that compassion can be a weakness, that surrounding yourself with weak people will make you weak. This sounds harsh, but think about it honestly. Who are you spending time with? Are they people who are growing, striving, becoming stronger? Or are they people who are comfortable in their weakness, who reinforce your excuses, who validate your limitations? If you're surrounded by people who are constantly complaining, making excuses, avoiding challenges, what do you think that does to you? You absorb their mentality. You start thinking that's normal. You start adopting their weak behaviors and calling it loyalty or compassion. Nietzsche would tell you that you need to be ruthless about this. Not cruel, but ruthless. You need to surround yourself with people who are stronger than you, who challenge you, who don't accept your excuses. People who are doing the difficult work of becoming strong themselves. This doesn't mean abandoning everyone who's struggling. It means being honest about whether your relationships are making you better or worse. If someone is constantly pulling you down, constantly discouraging you from growing, constantly wanting you to stay at their level, that's not a friend. That's an anchor. Strong people lift each other up by refusing to accept weakness. They hold each other to higher standards. They call out excuses. They challenge each other to do more, be more, become more. That's real friendship. That's real love. Anything less is just comfortable mediocrity. Here's another Nietzschean insight that's crucial. He talked about resentment, which is when you can't do something, so you convince yourself that thing is actually bad. It's psychological sour grapes that turns into a whole world view. And here's why this matters for becoming strong. Every time you fail to do something difficult, every time you avoid a challenge, you're tempted by resentment. You're tempted to say, actually, I didn't want that anyway. Actually, that thing isn't valuable. Actually, people who pursue that are wrong. This is incredibly poisonous because it stops you from learning and growing. Instead of facing your failure and getting better, you rationalize the failure as actually being good. You protect your ego at the expense of your development. Strong people do the opposite. When they fail, they admit it. When they can't do something, they acknowledge it. They don't twist reality to make their weakness seem like strength. They face the uncomfortable truth, and then they use that truth as motivation to improve. So pay attention to your own resentment. When you find yourself saying something isn't important or isn't valuable, ask yourself, is that really true? Or am I saying that because I failed at it? Or because I'm afraid to try? Be brutally honest. Because every time you indulge in resentment, you're choosing to stay weak. Let me tell you about Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, the overman, the person who has overcome themselves. This is the ideal. This is what you're aiming for. The Übermensch doesn't accept society's values. They create their own. They don't follow the herd. They forge their own path. They don't make excuses. They take responsibility for everything in their life. Now, you're not going to become the Übermensch overnight, but you can start moving in that direction today. You can start taking more responsibility. You can start questioning your assumptions. You can start doing difficult things. You can start becoming strong. And here's what happens when you do this. Life doesn't get easier. That's not the promise. Life might actually get harder because you're taking on more challenges, but you get stronger. You become more capable. You expand what's possible for you. And that's infinitely better than staying weak in comfortable circumstances. Think about it this way. Would you rather be a strong person facing difficult challenges or a weak person avoiding challenges? Because those are your options. You can't have an easy life as a strong person. Strength comes from struggle. If you want to be strong, you have to seek out the struggle. Here's something practical you can do right now. Identify the hardest thing in your life, the thing you've been avoiding, the thing that scares you most. Whatever you're not doing because it's too difficult, too risky, too uncomfortable. That thing. And do it. Today. Not tomorrow, not when you're ready. Today. You're not going to feel ready. You're never going to feel ready. Readiness is a myth that weak people hide behind. Strong people act before they're ready. They learn by doing. They become capable by attempting things they're not yet capable of. Will you fail? Maybe. Probably at first. But Nietzsche would say that failure is information. It's feedback. It's the universe showing you what you need to improve. Weak people see failure as a reason to quit. Strong people see failure as a reason to adjust their approach and try again. Let me tell you something Nietzsche understood that modern self-help completely misses. You don't become strong by thinking positive thoughts. You don't become strong by visualizing success. You don't become strong by affirming that you're already strong. Those things might make you feel better temporarily, but they don't actually change anything. You become strong by doing hard things. Period. There's no shortcut. There's no hack. There's no secret technique. You have to actually face difficulty, actually endure discomfort, actually push past your limits, repeatedly, for years. That's how you become strong. And here's the beautiful part. Once you accept this, once you stop looking for the easy way, everything becomes simpler. Not easier, but simpler. You know what you need to do. You just need to do it. No more analysis paralysis. No more waiting for the perfect moment. Just action. Difficult, uncomfortable, growth-producing action. So here's what you need to take away from all of this. You're weak because you've chosen to be weak. You've rationalized your weakness as virtue. You've surrounded yourself with other weak people who validate your excuses. You've avoided difficulty because it's uncomfortable. And you've convinced yourself that this is fine, that this is normal, that this is just how life is. But Nietzsche is here to tell you that it's not fine, that you're betraying yourself, that you're capable of so much more, that you're wasting your limited time on this earth being small and comfortable when you could be expanding, growing, becoming powerful. The path to strength is simple. Face difficulty voluntarily. Stop making excuses. Take responsibility for everything in your life. Question your beliefs and values. Surround yourself with people who are stronger than you. Do the things that scare you. Embrace struggle as the price of growth. It's simple, but it's not easy. Nothing worth doing is easy, and becoming strong is worth doing, because the alternative is staying weak. And staying weak means living a small life, full of regrets, always wondering what you could have been if only you'd had the courage to try. You have one life, one shot at this. You can spend it being comfortable and weak, or you can spend it becoming strong. Nietzsche would tell you that the choice is yours. Nobody else can make you strong. No circumstance will force you to grow. You have to choose it. You have to want it. You have to be willing to suffer for it. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep making excuses? Keep hiding behind slave morality? Keep surrounding yourself with people who enable your weakness? Or are you going to start today, right now, becoming the strong person you're capable of being? That's the question Nietzsche forces you to answer. And your life, the quality of your life, the meaning of your life, depends entirely on how you answer it.